When I say Princeton, you might think of a preppy, intellectual atmosphere. But believe it or not, there's so much more to this place than bow ties and eating clubs. For example, did you know that Princeton has the lowest student-to-faculty ratio out of all the Ivies? In today's video, I'll be sharing how to get into Princeton using the following two pillars: service and good old-fashioned conversation. Since I'm feeling extra generous, we'll also take a look at a successful Princeton essay that worked and touch upon those short answer questions too. Let's start with service. Princeton's motto is literally in the nation's service and the service of humanity. This is so important to Princeton's ethos that one of their main supplemental essay questions is this. My biggest piece of advice here is to thread your past high school initiatives with your future plans at Princeton. Instead of mentioning all the community service you do, narrow down and pinpoint one or two of the most important moments. Then connect that to unique service opportunities only found at Princeton. For instance, did you know that at Princeton, you can serve as a volunteer firefighter? There's even a program dedicated to funding and supporting community engagement projects called Process. And did you know that you could win $10,000 to implement an innovative service project anywhere in the world? Maybe you've been working with formerly incarcerated individuals all throughout high school, and now you want to expand the students for prison, education, abolition, and reform, or the SPEAR program for short. If so, write about that. Moving on to the other, even more important Princeton essay question. Let's talk about conversation. Princeton values community and encourages students, faculty, staff, and leadership to engage in respectful convos that can expand their perspectives and challenge their ideas and beliefs. As a prospective member of this community, reflect on how your lived experiences will impact the conversations that you'll have in the classroom, the dining hall, or other campus spaces. What lessons have you learned in life thus far? What will your classmates learn from you? In short, how has your lived experience shaped you? Here, Princeton wants you to reflect on your brief existence on this earth, share your life philosophy, and then articulate how you'll engage with other students on campus. Easy, right? Actually, no. A lot of students that I've worked with have really struggled with this question. Honestly, it's quite daunting. Like, geez, what life lessons have I learned? But don't worry, I'm here to help. Rather than focusing on the lesson you learned and the insight you gained, let's start with the experience itself. Princeton is looking for people who are able to listen and contribute to meaningful conversations. So, consider a time where you've had to discuss a controversial issue, or maybe a time where you were wrong and humbled by someone. Quick tip, guys, rather than diving into a rather cliche topic like politics or academics, I'd try to pick something that isn't reflected anywhere else in your application. Mention a hot take that you have. Here's an example essay to help you out. Superhero cinema is an oligopoly consisting of two prominent, towering brands, Marvel and DC. I'm a religious supporter of Marvel, but last year I discovered my friend Tom was a DC fan. Okay, already here we're seeing a really interesting premise. Great vocab too. Princeton loves those brainy intellectual types. So this essay is definitely on brand. 1 week later, we both brought pages of notes, evidence cards, and I had my Iron Man bobblehead for moral support. Our moderator, a Disney fan, sat in the middle with a stopwatch, open policy style. I began the debate by discussing how Marvel accentuated the humanity of the storyline, such as Tony Stark's transformation from an egotistical billionaire to a compassionate father, which drew in a broader audience because more people resonated with certain aspects of the characters. Tom rebutted this by capitalizing on how Deadpool was a duplicate of Deathstroke, Vision copied Red Tornado, and DC sold more comics than Marvel. What I love here, guys, are the specific examples and the proper nouns. That last sentence in particular really shows how this student paid attention to his opponent's argument. He remembered the experience so clearly that he could reference examples like Deadpool being a copy of Deathstroke. While the majority of your essay, should be about yourself, talking about others also communicates your humility and ultimately your listening skills. The inevitability of diversity suggests that it is our responsibility to understand the other person and what they believe. We may not always experience a change in opinions, but we can grant ourselves the opportunity to expand our global perspective. At Princeton, I'll continue this adventure to increase my awareness as a superhero aficionado, activist, and student by engaging in conversations that require me to think beyond what I believe and viewing the world from others' perspectives. And yes, Tom is still my friend. Yo, that first line was kind of fire. The inevitability of diversity suggests it's our responsibility to understand. It has a nice poetic ring to it, you know what I mean? In normal English, this guy is basically saying that so many times we get into these arguments and we're trying to change someone's mind, when really the goal should just be awareness. Pretty neat takeaway. And I love that he ended with humor. Pretty nice touch. Also, quick aside, but if you've made it this far, don't forget to like this video. We'll be editing tons of essays for free on this channel in the fall, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that opportunity. Welcome back. Let's continue with those Princeton short form essays. What is a new skill that you would like to learn in college? This prompt is a test of your creativity and originality. So do not shy away from unusual or whimsical skills. Juggling, stand-up comedy, or even beekeeping are all great examples. If you're into stand-up comedy, you might mention the Princeton Triangle Club, which is known for its student-written musicals and comedic performances. Most importantly, explain why this skill intrigues you. Perhaps juggling represents your desire for balance and multitasking, or stand-up comedy reflects your passion for making people laugh and connecting through humor. What brings you joy? There are a lot of different ways to tackle a question like this. One method is to describe a particularly poignant or vivid scene in excruciating detail. Imagine the sensation of your feet in the sand during a family beach trip, the cacophony of the gulls, the sloshing of the waves, or perhaps the quiet contentment of reading a fantasy book in your favorite nook at home while sipping on some strawberry Yakult. Another equally effective approach is to use a list. For example, Rocky Road cookies, my dog's thumping tail, my dad's horrible puns. This method has the benefit of offering a wider range of examples. Whether you choose to hone in on one narrative or write a list, make sure that your answer genuinely garners an emotional response and authentically communicates what fills your life with joy. What song represents the soundtrack of your life at this moment? Don't overthink this one. If you like some really niche music genres like 16th century English madrigals or 80s synthwave house, now is the time to mention that. Some kids worry that their choice may be a little bit cliche, but in this case, cliches actually work in your favor. This is because admission officers are likely to resonate with a popular song that they've heard of before. So don't be afraid to write about how Don't Stop Believin' captures your optimism and determination, or how a serene piece like Debussy's Clair de Lune resonates with your introspective nature and love for tranquility. By the way, friends, if at any point in time you would like your Princeton essays reviewed by a member of our team, visit www.elevated.school/editmyessay. In the last 2 years, we have edited more than 3,000 essays and helped students from every background imaginable get into every single top 20 college. That's all for now, folks. Catch you later, my dear virtual little siblings. Captain Kevin, out.